For the past 15 years, Subaru is an absolute sales champion, all thanks to great marketing campaigns and high-quality, reliable and family-oriented product. Essentially, Subaru's just been playing it safe, and that's probably another reason for success, but it wasn't always like that. This new safe strategy comes from an expensive lesson in the early 1990s, and it is called Grand Touring Luxury Coupe Subaru SVX.
SVX. It's our new look Subaru. And we think you'll like how it looks on you.
In the late 1980s, Subaru had to explore its ambitions in search where the company is going, and the decision been made to build an all-wheel drive, flat six-powered, 4-seat luxury GT car. And as many of you probably know, that back in 1980s, very often when an exciting car was designed, most certainly Italians were involved. And this time it was the legendary designer Giorgetto Giugiaro from Ital Design. He combined design themes from many of his concepts, such as Ford Maya and the Oldsmobile Incas, and soon SVX concept was released at the 1989 Tokyo Auto Show, and then went into production in 1992. And here goes my favorite part. The production car was almost unchanged from the concept, and that's always a big deal. It was stated that the decision to release this car for production would give the public the first opportunity to drive the concept car as it was originally designed. The SVX entered production with its window within a window configuration and with an additional extension of the glass covering the A-pillar, which Subaru described as an aircraft-inspired glass-to-glass canopy. The windows are split about 2/3 of the way from the bottom, with the division being parallel to the upper curve of the door frame, similar to the half windows of the Lamborghini Countach, DMC DeLorean, which is another Giugiaro design, and the McLaren F1. The lower windows rolled up to meet a 1-inch wide molding frame, which held the fixed upper window. And this created good aerodynamics and a car that could be driven at high speed with a window opened without turbulence and a reduced wind noise. This design was unique and distinctive and timeless and fresh. And just by looking at it, it's really hard to tell. This could be 1980s, 90s, could be even 2000, for example. And SVX was popular in ski areas due to its all-wheel drive and sporty style. This all-wheel drive and heavy weight, coupled with decent ability to accelerate, made this car a lot of fun driving on a snow-covered road. And for the US market, two versions were produced, with the more luxurious LSL and LSI versions having a sunroof, heated mirrors, leather seating, and the leather-covered steering wheel, gear selector, and the handbrake. It was offered with automatic transmission only, and the reason was simple. Subaru did not have a manual transmission that was strong enough to handle the power and torque of the 230 horsepower 3.3-liter engine, and some enthusiast buyers were turned off just by that. Depending on the country, Subaru had two versions of their all-wheel drive system for the automatic transmission. The first system, called ACT4 by Subaru, it was the same setup commonly found on other Subaru models of this period, and it used a variable clutch pack with 90-10 power split front to rear, which could transfer up to 50-50 power split for maximum traction if the front wheel started to slip. This all-wheel drive system was offered through the entire production run and was used in vehicles manufactured for sale in the US, Canada, Germany, France, and Switzerland. And another continuous traction delivery system called VTD by Subaru was used in SVX in the rest of the world. And VTD all-wheel drive system is a permanent all-wheel drive due to its 36-64 split. And the Japanese spec GDM SVX was equipped with four-wheel steering as well. Thanks to all-wheel drive and despite its heavy weight, it could corner extraordinarily well on wet road conditions. Its acceleration times were slow compared to today's sport coupes. The 0 to 60 miles an hour time was 7.3 seconds with 15.4 second quarter mile, which was quick back in early 90s, but nothing special in 2007, for example, but it was still called the poor man's Carrera 4. And in addition to that, SVX was equally compared to Lexus SC400 in terms of comfort. It was built to compete with Japanese sports cars like Acura NSX, Nissan 300ZX, Mazda RX-7, Mitsubishi 3000 GT, and Toyota Supra. But at that time, Toyota was successful in merging into the luxury sports coupe market as they came up with the Lexus logo. In the late 1980s, so did Nissan and Honda, realizing that they could not market a $35,000 luxury sports coupe through their low-priced brand names. This resulted in a major change in the automotive industry as Infiniti and Acura began their lives. Around the same time, the luxury sports coupe market began to heat up as Acura sold its Acura Legend coupe, Lexus its SC300 and 400, and Infiniti the M30 coupe. Subaru had nothing for its luxury brand name marketing, and Subaru sold SVX simply as Subaru. It was difficult to define the SVX's class. To many auto enthusiasts, the 230 horsepower SVX was underpowered when 300ZX twin turbo offered 300 horsepower, so did Toyota Supra and Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4. It was too heavy for an extreme sports, and it was not a real sports car because two adults could sit comfortably in the back seat. Its styling sure stood out, but did not really say luxury, while the SC400 and Legend Coupe did. The SVX was just as fast as 3000 GT SL, 300ZX non-turbo and Supra non-turbo, but none of these were all-wheel drive. And another all-wheel drive performance car back then was the Mitsubishi-produced Eclipse, Eagle Talon and Plymouth Laser badges, but these were not direct competition. It appeared that SVX was in a class of its own, and in addition to challenges against the competitors, the SVX didn't even fit in its own Subaru lineup, where its sticker price was almost $10,000 higher than anything in the company's showrooms. And from 1991 through 1997, 14,257 cars were sold in the US, about 2,500 in Europe and 1,000 in Canada. And of all 25,000 SVX produced, about 7,000 were assembled for right-hand drive countries. And as an investment, Subaru actually lost $3,000 on every SVX sold, for a total loss of around $75 million on this project. And it's still considered a small price to pay for the increased awareness of Subaru's presence as a quality, forward-thinking car manufacturer. And all that said, people don't often talk about how unique this car is, especially when it comes to the interior. It's quirky, someone would say. An interesting fact that SVX is one of the few vehicles that likely require an external easy pass transmitter. This is because the titanium oxide coating on the windshield blocks the signal from RFID transponders. This coating has been suspected as causing issue with radar speed detectors as well. But on the other hand, someone might actually find it useful. These cars are still cheap to buy, but the ownership is not without a problem. As we know, Subaru did not sell many examples, and the low number of survivors mean OEM parts are essentially non-existent. There's a small but active owners community that you will need to befriend to get what you need when things break. But to most SVX owners, it is the perfect car. It still turns heads and grabs attention, and really that's all it takes. But for everyone else, SVX continues to be priced as a used car with unusual styling. Still, most examples can be seen in good condition, and once it was even called a future collectible in Collectible Automobile magazine with a strong but not very high resale values. So SVX did not bring the result that Subaru hoped for. It did not bring a luxury brand, and at the end what is really cool is that 26 years later the Subaru SVX is still an affordable time machine to the future that never happened. That's all I have for you today, guys. Check out my channel for my other videos, share this video, but for now, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.